You may remember our story last year about a group of schoolboys and their coach, Jono Kruger, from East London. They took on superhuman challenges to raise money for their friends. It was one of those heartwarming stories that stay with you.
Some local business people obviously felt the same way because they came forward to support Jono and boost his mission. But who is the man behind the drive for a better country? Masa went to spend more time with him.
I think I've seen too many young people make negative choices in their life, all because they didn't have the opportunity in front of them. We believe that every child is a champion that just needs an opportunity. They just need someone to care.
A man who's worked incredibly hard to achieve success for not only himself, but for the sake of other people. I'm going to ask Mr. Jono Kruger if he could come forward to chat to you this morning. Mr. Kruger.
Today I was asked to come and speak to you about going through tough things and going through things that you maybe don't want to go through.
Jono Kruger, an Eastern Cape teacher and rugby coach, seems like a regular guy, but he has a level of empathy that sets him apart from most people. He refuses to look away from suffering and instead has made it his mission to help children in his community.
We're in the most unequal country in the world. We can't just become desensitized and go, well, it's too big of a problem for me, I can't do anything.
While coaching at an elite all-boys school in 2017, Jono noticed his students weren't always conscious of the poverty beyond their suburbs. To broaden their perspective, he took them to a children's home.
And I knew some of the stories of these kids, and they were just heart-wrenching. One of the girls had a half eaten away nose and fingers that had been eaten away because she was left on the rubbish dump. And at the time, the organization was struggling to feed the kids. And when I said to the guys, like, guys, we've got to play for something more. We've got to do something to help these. What if we could play this season, score enough tries and raise enough funds to feed 10 abandoned babies?
That season, the team raised over 100,000 Rand for the children's home, and Sport for Lives was born. Jono created an online fundraising platform where athletes from across the country could initiate campaigns for a chosen cause.
I don't think we need to be ashamed of our privilege, but I do think that we could do more with our privilege.
2, 3, Kuko!
We first met Jono last year when he led a group of schoolboys on a Sport for Lives campaign. They pushed themselves to the absolute limit, running 7 marathons in just 6 days.
Well, Brad, what are your thoughts?
It all knows that I'm keen.
Ah, that's what we would like to hear, you know.
Their mission was to raise money to buy a mechanical hand for classmate 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗆.
We've just reached our halfway mark, the 150-kilometer mark.
The boys raised over 600,000 Rand, forever changing 𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗆's life.
Now I can actually hold on to stuff, I can catch stuff, I can play with lots of things with this hand, and I'm just so thankful for them for doing this for me.
Crucially for Jono was that the boys learned important lessons along the way.
I realized that I'm actually privileged to have pain. I'm privileged to feel pain in my legs because I have legs.
Brad, hey, come on, man. Come on, man. Hey, come on. Come on, Brad, you got this, bro.
Just like these boys, Jono's own life changed while in grade 10 at Selborne College. His rugby coach introduced him to life in an informal settlement, profoundly reshaping his life.
He showed me a world that I'd never really been into before. Later came to know this division as the invisible curtain between the haves and the have-nots. And so it was the first time that I'd ever crossed into that space.
A few years later, after becoming a professional rugby player, Jono turned his attention to serving his community. Just 21, he and teammate 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 founded an NGO called Champions Development.
We both had a passion and a desire to make a difference with our sport. We just used what we had and we knew rugby, and that's what we did.
They put their boots on the ground and travelled from school to school, teaching kids from the township basic rugby skills.
We did some life skills programs. We ran camps for street kids, week-long camps that were funded by big organizations. We built a resource center, a woodwork center for a children's home. We involved the kids. They built the center out of sandbags.
And so, in 2022, we went to meet Jono and tell the story of Sport for Lives and its impact.
While shooting that original story, I was quite impressed with Jono's way of thinking, and I knew the rest of South Africa would be too. But I never imagined that our story would basically change his whole life trajectory.
Nice and clean, good. Nice. After our first episode with Carte Blanche, a business approached me, and so they said to me, what if we took care of you and looked after your needs and set you free to just run with your passion?
Okay, and we're going to try and get that twist and finish.
With the backing of his new benefactors, Jono left his teaching job and established his most significant NGO to date, Edy Sports, combining education and sports in one of East London's largest informal settlements.
We got started in the beginning of the year. We now have 30 coaches that are employed in our community. 15 are literacy coaches and 15 are rugby coaches.
Good. Good.
Only 5% of our public schools in our country have access to rugby facilities. But what if we could put in some development structures and actually give more kids an opportunity? Some of them are lost under this thing called poverty, and we just need to bring an opportunity to them.
We're going to just recap for the kids at the school. We're wanting to get those basics right. Well done, 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗃.
I got to train with Jono and some of the Edy Sports coaches and even learned a few basic rugby skills.
Yes!
Yes!
Well done. There we go.
I mean...
Finish up there.
These coaches are reaching over 1,000 children a month, but it's off the field that the program is doing its most extraordinary work.
At the beginning of the year, I walked into a classroom and there were 74 kids in a class. Now, when you know the stats of 80% of our grade 4s are functionally illiterate, and then you have a class of grade 1s with 74 kids in, we were just like, we have to do something about this.
And they did. Jono and a team of local teachers recently ran 4 marathons in 3 days to raise funds to build more classrooms for the school.
My favorite part is being thirsty and then having...
What would you say for you is a non-negotiable on this journey?
I think service. We're not going to do any of this if we don't have a service mentality.
The grind of daily life in South Africa can test even the most dedicated humanitarian. Yet Jono somehow retains a pure heart and unwavering purpose.
You know, John, a lot of people say, oh, this place is going to the dogs. And especially people with young children, they worry about safety and they prefer to immigrate for the sake of their children. But you're not thinking along those lines.
I hear what people are saying, but for me, to what end? I think there's got to be something bigger than just providing for your kids. I think you've got to show them purpose. You've got to show them something that's bigger than them just being provided for. I think those are the kids that we need to raise.
When it's all said and done, it'll be unsung heroes like Jono Kruger from the Eastern Cape who will be the backbone of change in South Africa.
I don't have the power to make the change, but I think collectively we have the power.
Thanks for watching. Why not drop us a comment below? We love reading your opinions. Remember, you can now access Carte Blanche stories anytime, anywhere, even offline. Carte Blanche, the podcast, is now available on all major podcast platforms. So be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and be part of our growing online family.